Wild like my daddy, but straightforward like my mama. Drink like granddad, smoke sluggies like the other. But granddad feels the guts. Hustle like my uncle JT or cousin Big B. I got big dreams like Jimmy Lee. And my aim is good running for Billy Beans. Keep a job like Uncle Kevin told me. Top notch player like Dave. And that caddy thing since the 80s slab. Big corporate thug and political like Jack. Maybe rest in peace, but I've been talking a lot. See, it's hot head wasn't scared to get money or leave the beats and seeds. Can't play me like I'm a pawn in the game. Chess, jokes look like Big Kenny and Ski. G like Terrell, Journey. The trigger happy, it's about my family. Alone like my granny. Chuckling, giggling, hunching my shoulders like my daddy's and the lead. Routed like them Tyson seeds. The spiritual like the wards. A go-getter like Arian. A religious, romantic career like no one, you know, ever. Also like Uno. My soldiers, untold stories like my bro, Deep Bird. And cousin Ray Knock, I get aim like Herb and free man be like John and Gene. I can be man, it's respectful, tap it to a different breed.
I can't wait till they get a load of me.
Drake and love to read, memory and lessons from ancestral pillars. Legacy family, we are unapologetic.
Hey Gwendolyn, thanks for hopping on. Happy New Year to you. I can't wait. I can't wait. Hey, good evening, champions. Happy New Year to you all. Thank you so much for hopping on. This is the first Motivation to Elevation podcast of 2018, and I am excited to be back before you tonight. Tuesdays is always my night. And so for those who are hopping on, I'm Arian Tyson. I am in my office here in St. Louis, Missouri, and it is an honor to be back before you tonight. If you have not already done so, I want to say for those who have, thank you so much to everyone who has invested in me, who has purchased my brand new book. For those who do not know, it is entitled Love Me or Hate Me, My Journey from Motivation to Elevation. It is my very first book. I had a goal in 2017 that by the end of the year that I would release my very first book, and bam, it happened. And so it has gotten a lot of feedback, and I am just thankful because I have been receiving love from my home state of Missouri, from Illinois, from Texas, from Georgia, from Kansas, from California, from Virginia, from Maryland, from Connecticut, and even tonight, even from Michigan. And so that's 10 states in all that have had someone from those 10 states purchase a copy of my book. And so if you have not already done so, make sure you grab yourself a copy. I am actually signing each and every book that is purchased, and you can find more information about it at my website at www.lovemeorhateme.org. Again, that's www.lovemeorhateme.org. Having said all that, I want to talk to you all tonight, especially because it's a new year, and I'm seeing a lot of people that's, saying it's a new year, new me, this, that, and the other. But some of us are saying, yes, it's a new year, but there's no need to say a new me. It's actually the same me, because if you did some things in 2017 that worked, then by all means, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. And so I want to talk to you, for those who had a struggle in 2017, about how to turn things around in 2018. And there are some things I'm going to share with you, and I'm speaking from personal experience when I say this, because 2017 for me was my turnaround year, because 2016 was the worst year of my life. 2017 became the best year of my life, and 2018 we're just going to level up. And I'm going to share with you some things that I did to turn things around in 2017 that's going to help you turn things around in 2018. So if you get value from this, feel free to share this. Feel free to hit those thumbs, hit those hearts, etc. So let's dive in, because I don't want to be all night. And so I want to talk to you about how to turn things around. Now, most people, they look forward to the new year because it's a new beginning. You have an opportunity to just leave the past behind and you can just start fresh. And every now and then, it's good to start fresh. It really is. It's important because you find out that it gives you an opportunity to turn the page. It gives you an opportunity to put a period where a period is necessary, turn the page and start writing the next chapter. So for many of us, 2018 is a whole nother chapter. But with that, in order for you to make sure that the things that happened that did not turn out in your favor, that it does not repeat itself, there are some things that you're going to have to do. There are some things that you're going to have to share. There are some things that you're going to have to some certain situations, some certain people, some certain environments that you're going to have to remove yourself from. So I'm going to share with you a couple things that I did that helped turn things around and why 2017 was just a monster year and why 2018 is going to be even better. One of the things that you're going to have to do in order to turn things around is that you're going to have to challenge your understandings and your certainties. Hey, what's up, brother? Thanks for hopping on. Here's some things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to challenge your understandings and challenge your certainties. And what I mean by that is this. Life's richness does not always come from residing within familiar territory. It's when you learn how to launch into the deep. It's when you begin to venture out away from the familiar that you grow stronger and find out that you're powerful beyond measure. And I'm telling you what I know because 2017 was that for me. And if you have been watching, you're going to see that 2018, I'm just picking up where I left off. And so with that, you have to realize that you must hold tightly to your core values, because if you don't have core values, you're never going to be successful. So you got to hold on to your core values while at the same time opening your heart, opening your mind, and opening your spirit to new ideas, new concepts, new feelings, and new experiences. Because your own perspective will become clearer when you look at things from different angles. Because too many people are so narrow-minded, and they'll look back and they'll see the time go by and they'll wonder, why in the world are they still in the same place? And they will never understand that they've wasted time, because all they had to do is change their mindset and change how they look at certain things from a different angle, from a different perspective. And it could make all the difference. So you have to find ways to provide a healthy challenge to your current understandings of life, and you will discover and experience a far more of life's magic in the year ahead, because 2018 has the potential to be a monster year for each and everybody that's watching. You have the opportunity now to make this the best possible year of your life. And so I'm looking to level up from what happened in 2017, because it truly was a turnaround year. It truly was a remarkable year for me. And that's the first thing. That's one of the things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to challenge. You have to understand that without any challenges, there's no true change. And the reason that people don't change, that the reason that they never reach their full potential or never reach their destiny is because they're afraid to be challenged. And you have to be willing to be challenged. Another thing that you have to do is that you have to track. You have to track how you invest your energy. And if you are investing your energy the wrong way, it's time for you to start making productive shifts. And what I mean by that is to attract better outcomes in life, to attract a better return on your investment. You have to become better on the inside. Are you hearing me? And again, you can't do the same things and expect change. You can't blame someone else. You have to take full responsibility for the next steps that you know that you have to take. You have to start transforming your mindset. You have to start upgrading your habits. You have to realize that your life is 90% your choice. It is 90% your choice. If you're watching, somebody type that in the comment section. You have to realize that your life is 90% your choice. So seriously, do not settle. Do not settle. Don't exchange what you want most for what's easiest at the moment. You have to study your agendas. You have to study your routines closely. Here's why. Because you have to figure out where your time goes and remove needless distractions. If you want to level up, if you want things to turn around in 2018, you're going to have to remove all distractions. You have to remove them. You cannot do the same thing that you did in 2017 and expect things to turn around in 2018. You cannot do it. That is insanity. So if you want things to change for the better, you're going to have to look at the things that you have done negatively, and you're going to have to change some of those habits. And no, it does not change overnight, but it will change when you make a decision. Because too many people are in denial. They say they want change, but yet they're doing the same thing. It's not going to work. You have to change. You have to be willing to change. You have to learn. You have to be willing to learn to change. Because with every setback, with every heartbreak, with every triumph, with every experience, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it is helping you grow. It should help you grow to another level because you have learned something that you probably did not know before. So you have to track how you invest your energy and make productive shifts. That's the second thing. I'm going to give you about 5 things before I wrap up. So let's get to point number 3. Point number 3 is you have to realize that you must work diligently, and also you must work consistently on your meaningful goals. Think about this. Think about a quadrant. In a quad, there's four. Quad means 4. So there are 4 different quadrants. You have to look at the things that you want to do in life, and you have to put them in 4 different quadrants. There are some things that are not important. There are some things that are somewhat important. There are some things that are very important. And then finally, there are some things that are an emergency. And the emergency are the things that should be top priority. Why do I say all this? Why do I say that you must work diligently and consistently on meaningful goals? Here's why. Because, hey, Mom, thanks for hopping on. And the reason I say this is because when you focus your heart and mind upon a purpose and you commit yourself to fulfilling that purpose through daily small steps, positive energy will start to flood into your life. Prime example, my mother is watching, the very woman that gave me life, the woman whose very womb I came out of. She's watching. I dedicated the book that I mentioned at the very beginning. I dedicated the book to her. It took me 18 years to finally have the courage to sit down and write a book. But when I finally made a decision that I'm going to do this and it's going to happen, I wrote that book in less than 60 days. So someone do the math. I started writing that book on August the 28th of last year. The book was completed on October the 7th of last year. And if I'm doing the math in my head, that is not even 2 months from the time I started to the time I finished. The book was written. And when I made the announcement that the book was available for pre-order, 60 days had passed. Now the book is here. So you have what it takes to get stuff done. And when you make a conscious decision, you will look back and you'll find yourself at the finish line. And it'll seem like it didn't take as long. Because, again, we have to remember, and I'm sure that you've heard this, that the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong. It is given to those who can endure to the very end. You got to have some endurance and realize that sometimes it is about the marathon. In many cases, it's never about the sprint. And realize that you have what it takes to make it happen. You have what it takes. So let this be a wake-up call. Allow this to sink into your mind that things can get done in the blink of an eye. Things can get done faster than you realize when you make a decision to take consistent action, daily action. You will find yourself at your goal sooner than you realize. And I'm speaking from experience, because that's the very reason that the book even became a reality as fast as it did. It took me 18 years to write it, but I wrote it in less than 2 months. I'm just saying. 2 more and then I'm done. In order for you to turn things around in 2017, another thing that you're going to have to do, you're going to have to do the hard things. What do I mean by that? You have to lose the expectation. You have to lose the expectation that everything in life should be easy. You have to lose that expectation. It is not realistic. And these are rarely shortcuts to any place in life worth going. You have to enjoy the challenges of your achievements. What am I saying? You have to see the value in your efforts and be patient with yourself. You have to exercise patience and realize that patience is not just about waiting, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what it's about. It's not just about waiting. It is about the ability to maintain a positive attitude while working hard on important goals. And it's knowing deep down that doing the hard things is worth it. Even while you're going through the midst of a struggle. I wrote that book while going through a struggle. That's what a lot of people don't realize, but they'll know it once they get the book. You have to realize that maybe you're in the midst of a struggle. Maybe 2017 didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to. Maybe 2018 has not started out the way that you wanted it to. But that doesn't mean that you're not worth it. Trust me, you're still worth it. Even in the midst of why you're going through a struggle, even in the midst of why you may be going through a pain, you're still worth it. Your goals are still worth it. But it starts with you. And the reason I say that is because those are the things that make the difference between existing and living. And you have heard me say repeatedly on prior videos and prior podcasts that for a long period of my life, I was merely existing. And you're absolutely right, Cousin Rudy. The truth does make us free. When you're willing to authentically walk in your truth and own everything, you get one step closer to greatness. And let me share with you, for those who don't know, and I put this in the book, but for those that don't have the book yet, let me share with you what my definition of greatness is. Greatness is the ability to authentically walk in your truth, regardless of shortcomings, realizing that setbacks are inevitable, yet recognizing the price of achieving it is accepting responsibility. And what I mean by that is accepting responsibility for everything that has happened, because no one is 100% blameless. So you have to accept the good, the bad, the ugly, and you have to be willing to own it and walk in it. The only way that you can walk in it, you got to be willing to walk through it. It's one thing to come into the midst of a storm and then you stop. But like I've heard it always said, if God brings you to it, he can bring you through it. So realize that. And you have to realize that there's a difference between existing and living, between knowing the path and walking the path. A lot of people know the path, but how many people do you know that's actually walking that thing? And it's the difference between living a life of mediocrity and living a life that's full of progress and fulfillment. And we deserve to live a life of fulfillment. Why? Because that's what God requires of us. That's what God requires of us. If he didn't require it of us, he would not have given us talents and gifts. He would not have given us a purpose for our life. So you have to operate in it. You have to be unapologetic about it and realize that it's okay, because you're going to have bumps in the road. That's life. You're human. And it just means that you're in good company. Hey, cuz, yeah, Big Mama's in the house. Thanks for hopping on. And then finally, the fifth thing that you're going to have to do in order to turn things around in 2018, to make sure to make sure that it is maximized, that you outdo even what you did in 2017. You have to study your mistakes closely and then learn from them. And people don't want to do this, but this is where your character really comes in. It comes into play. This is really where the rubber meets the road. This is where you really come true to yourself. When you really begin to start being honest with yourself, because sometimes you have to shake hands with your worst enemy. And your worst enemy is yourself. Your worst enemy is the person that you look at in the mirror every day. And the reason I say that, and again, I'm speaking from experience, is because disappointments and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to get to the place and space that God has ordained for you to be. It is necessary. So don't let a hard lesson harden your heart. And I'm speaking as somebody that went through hell in 2016 and life punched them in the mouth. And I had a choice going into 2017. Would I decide to say, oh, woe is me, and just stay in that sunken place? Or do I allow it to help me push to greatness? Hey, sis, and I'm glad you got your book today. I thought that you were going to get it today. So thank again, and as always, thanks for hopping on. And for those who don't know who I'm speaking to, that's my sister in Virginia, Michelle, who is also my longtime accountability partner. You got to be able to have an accountability partner. You got to have somebody around you that loves you enough that is going to tell you what you need to hear and is going to give you a swift kick in the behind when you need it. That's what you need. And so even though I'm in St. Louis and she's in Virginia, I can sometimes feel her looking at me as only she can look at me and tell me, brother, you know I love you, but it's time for you to come up out of that. It's time for you to get back on straight street. Because you still got work to do. There's still lives for you to impact. And so I'm thankful for my accountability partner. And yeah, you're a crybaby. Yeah, you're a crybaby. I know what you're talking about. So we'll chat after I wrap up. But yeah, I kind of and see, the thing about it is a lot of people are going to experience that once they get the book. Because there are certain people that are acknowledged, but they'll never know that they're acknowledged if they don't get the book. So with that being said, let me wrap up this final point. You have to realize that when things go wrong, learn what you can and then push the heartbreak aside by refocusing your energy on the present step. I had to push certain things to the side and focus on the present. Because if I stayed in that same place too long, it was going to affect my future. But because I had certain people around me that was speaking life into me, that was encouraging me when I was struggling to encourage myself. And many times people are going to find out when they get this book, certain events that happened where they're going to look back and say, you mean to tell me that you went through all of that, but yet you launched this podcast, you were doing these podcasts every Tuesday night. You were cranking out video after video after video, even after all the stuff that you were enduring. You're going to develop a higher level of, I may develop a higher level of respect with you. Because I would have earned it, because you would have saw the progression, but then you can look back and see the consistency. Because that's what helped me get to where I'm at now and where I'm elevating to. So when you hear motivation and elevation, I'm living this thing. This is not lip service. I am the embodiment of it. And I accept that. So I got to lead the charge. I got to be able to be the example for somebody that's coming up behind me, that feel like they're on the verge of giving up or feeling like they have nobody around them that understands what they're going through. Trust me, I've been through it. Life punched me in the mouth. Life brought me to my knees. But as one of my mentors that I met last year, the great Les Brown once has taught me, is that if you get knocked down, land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. 2017 was my getting up. And I'm stopping by tonight to tell you that for those that got knocked down in 2017, 2018 is your time to get up. It is your time to get up. But in order for you to get up, there are some things that you're going to have to do differently in this season. If you don't want history to repeat itself, 2017 is over. It has been written. You can't change nothing that happened in 2017. It is done. Let me say, it is finished. And I'm saying it is finished, rather it's done, because one of my teachers taught me that nothing gets done but steak and potatoes. So 2017 is finished. You don't have a flux capacity. You can't turn back the hands of time. All you can do is either stay stagnant or you can rise and move forward. You can elevate and move forward because people are waiting on you. They're waiting on you and they need you. They need to hear your story. They need to hear your voice. They need to hear your testimony. And the very reason that I know that somebody is waiting to hear from me, that somebody is going to be impacted by me in 2018 by the grace of God, is because, it's simply because God told me that he is not done with me. And the way that he told me, he wakes me up every morning. So as long as I got breath in my body, it ain't over. It's not over. There are still some things that I need to do. There is still some work that I have to do. And I'm telling you, as I wrap up, there are some things that you have to do. There are some work that you still have left to do. And it's going to take work. It is not going to happen overnight. It is not going to happen in the blink of an eye for you to turn 2018 around, to have that turnaround, to have that bounce back year. So you can look back and we'll be calling you to come back kid like some people are calling me to come back kid, because they know what I went through in 2016. But they saw what happened in 2017. And for those that have chosen not to say anything in 2017, because they saw the progression, they saw the elevation, they saw the evolution and the maturation. They saw it. They're still watching right now, even though they're not saying anything. I'm just getting started. I'm just getting warmed up. So you have what it takes to turn 2018 around as well. And you're absolutely right, my sister. Yes, we do have lives to change. One day at a time, one step at a time. So with that being said, let me recap the 5 things that I shared tonight, that for those that hopped on late, that you can do to turn things around in 2018, so that 2018 is not a repeat of what you endured in 2017. The first point was you have to challenge your understandings and your certainties. You have to be willing to challenge them. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is you have to track how you invest your energy and make productive shifts. That's the second thing that you have to do. Point number 3 was you have to work diligently and consistently on meaningful goals. And I shared that all goals are not created equal. There are some goals that, there are some things that you're going to come across. And I talked about the 4 quadrants. In one quadrant, there are the things that come up that are not important. Then there, in another quadrant, there are the things that are somewhat important. Then in the 3rd quadrant, there are things that are very important. And then in that 4th quadrant, there are the things that are an emergency. And those things that are an emergency, those are the things that should be top priority. The 4th thing was you have to be willing to do the hard things and realize that you have to lose the expectation that everything in life should be easier. And then finally, the final point was you have to study your mistakes. Study your mistakes from 2017 closely and then learn from them. That's how I was able to turn things around in 2017. And I made mistakes along the road in 2017, but I'm going to study my mistakes that I made in 2017 and learn from them so that I can elevate even higher in this year 2018. Because rest and believe at minimum, because it's promised that I'm going to get at least double for my trouble. And you have what it takes to get double, at least double for your trouble as well. So with that being said, thank you so much to everyone who has hopped on. I'm officially calling this a wrap. If you have not already done so, make sure you grab a copy of my brand new book. I put my heart and soul into this book. It is entitled Love Me or Hate Me, My Journey from Motivation to Elevation. You can order it now at www.lovemeorhateme.org. And sis, I push you because you push me. That's just what accountability partners do. And so with that, I'm calling this a night. And as always, remember, in life, you have two choices. You can make moves or you can make excuses, but you most certainly cannot do both. It's yours truly, Arian Tyson, the Moving Motivator. Thank you so much for hopping on, and I will be back next Tuesday at the same time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Central, for another edition of the Motivation to Elevation podcast. Peace.